A brand new electric car for less than $10,000. The kind of number that makes you assume something is missing until you see what's actually inside. Now compare that to what most people think an electric car should cost. $40,000, $50,000, sometimes even more. So the question isn't just how China made cars cheaper, it's why everyone else is still so expensive. So how is BYD doing this without something breaking? Because numbers like this usually come with a catch. Lower quality, hidden costs, a compromise somewhere. But here's what makes this different. To understand that, you have to step back. BYD, Build Your Dreams, is a Chinese car company based in Shenzhen. Most people in the West had never heard of it 5 years ago. Today, it sells more electric cars than anyone else on the planet. It outsells Tesla. It outsells Volkswagen's EV lineup. In some markets, it outsells both combined. Last year, BYD delivered over 1.7 million fully electric vehicles and another 1.6 million plug-in hybrids. Those are not projections. Those are delivered, registered, driven off the lot cars. And almost every single one of them costs significantly less than the equivalent from any European or American competitor. And when those numbers started showing up, the reaction was immediate. You cannot build cars that good, that fast, for that little money, not legitimately. There have to be subsidies, hidden debt, fraud somewhere in the accounting, some kind of cheat code that explains the gap. Because if this is real, then the entire pricing model of the industry starts to fall apart. But what if the gap is not a cheat? What if it is just the result of building cars in a completely different way? That is what this story is really about. To understand the price, you have to look at what's actually inside the car and where every single piece of it comes from. Start with a car most people would recognize, the BYD Seal. It is their mid-range sedan, roughly the size of a BMW 3 Series or a Tesla Model 3. It comes with a panoramic glass roof, a rotating center screen, rear-wheel drive 0 to 60 in around 4 seconds, over-the-air software updates, and an 8-year battery warranty. In China, it starts at around $22,000. In Australia, where BYD has no government-to-consumer subsidy advantage over domestic brands, it sells for about 46,000 Australian dollars, competitive with, and in many specs superior to, cars from German brands in the same range. Now ask a simple question: where do the parts come from? For a Volkswagen or a Toyota, the answer is complicated. The engine block might come from one supplier, the transmission from another, the chips from a fab in Taiwan or South Korea, the battery cells from a Korean manufacturer, the glass from one company, the wiring harnesses from another. A modern car has somewhere between 20,000 and 30,000 individual parts, and for most legacy automakers, the majority of those parts are sourced from outside the company, sometimes from outside the country, sometimes from the other side of the world. This is how the car industry has worked for 100 years. Specialization. Each supplier gets very good at one thing. The car maker assembles the result. It works until it does not. In 2021, the global chip shortage exposed exactly how fragile that model is. A shortage of semiconductors, tiny components that cost a few dollars each, brought some of the biggest car factories on Earth to a halt. Ford left thousands of trucks sitting unfinished in parking lots, missing only the chips needed to run their dashboards. Volkswagen slowed production across multiple plants. General Motors cut output on some of its most profitable vehicles. The industry lost an estimated $210 billion in revenue that year from a shortage of parts that, in many cases, cost less than a cup of coffee. BYD kept building, not because they were lucky, because they make their own chips. BYD does not just assemble cars. It manufactures the batteries, the electric motors, the power electronics, the semiconductors, the headlights, and even the glass used in some of its vehicles. When the supply chain for the rest of the industry seized up, BYD turned up the output at its own factories and kept moving. No begging suppliers, no paying emergency premiums, no trucks sitting half-finished in a field. This is called vertical integration, and it is the first part of the answer to why BYD cars cost what they cost. When you make everything yourself, two things happen. First, you capture the profit that would normally go to suppliers. Second, and this is the part that compounds over time, you get better at making each component because you are making it at massive scale constantly. Every year, BYD builds more cars. Every component in that car gets cheaper to produce. A battery cell that cost BYD $120 per kilowatt hour to produce in 2018 cost them somewhere around $60 by 2023. That is not because battery chemistry magically improved. It is because BYD was making so many of them in their own factories with their own process refinements that the cost per unit dropped steadily year after year. But here is what makes this different from just any large manufacturer getting better at their job. In 2020, BYD introduced something called the Blade battery. This was not a marketing name, it was a genuine structural change in how battery packs are built. Traditional EV battery packs group cells into modules, then stack those modules into a pack. It is logical. It makes assembly easier. But it also wastes space, adds weight, and introduces more points of potential failure. BYD's engineers asked a different question. What if you skip the module step entirely? The Blade battery takes long, flat cells, shaped roughly like blades, and slots them directly into the structural frame of the car. The battery is not just in the car, it is part of the car's skeleton. The pack is stronger, lighter, and takes up less volume than a traditional design. You can fit more energy in the same space or the same energy in less space, which means a smaller, lighter, cheaper car can still have a competitive range. There is also a chemistry difference. Most EV manufacturers, including Tesla for most of its history, used batteries based on nickel and cobalt. These deliver high energy density, meaning more range per kilogram. But cobalt is expensive, geopolitically complicated to source, and the chemistry is thermally unstable under stress. Puncture one of these cells hard enough and it can catch fire. BYD uses lithium iron phosphate, sometimes called LFP. It has slightly lower energy density, which means slightly less range for the same weight. But it is significantly cheaper to produce, it does not use cobalt at all, and it is dramatically more stable. You can nail a BYD Blade cell with a spike. It will not catch fire. The company demonstrated this publicly. The video is not especially dramatic, which is somewhat the point. A safer, cheaper battery built into the structure of the car itself. That is a meaningful engineering difference, not a marketing claim. And the result showed up in the price. Because BYD was not paying a supplier for battery cells, not paying a premium for cobalt, not paying for modular assembly, all of that cost simply did not exist. It had been engineered out. 4 years after BYD released the Blade battery, Tesla began sourcing cells using lithium iron phosphate chemistry for some of its own models. Let that sit for a moment. The company that Elon Musk laughed at on live American television in 2019, laughed at, not debated, not criticized, just dismissed with a "have you seen their car?" That company's battery approach was adopted by Tesla, not announced with a press release, just quietly incorporated because the engineering was right. Now go back to that $10,000 car. BYD's entry-level model, the Seagull, sits at the bottom of their lineup. It is a small urban hatchback. It uses a simplified version of the Blade battery, BYD's own electric motor, their own chips, their own software. At the volume BYD produces millions of cars a year, and with the cost structure they have built, no supplier markups on batteries, chips, or motors, a $10,000 retail price on a small city car is not a miracle. It is arithmetic. Compare that to what it takes for a European automaker to build a similar car. They buy battery cells from a Korean supplier. They buy chips from Taiwan. They buy motors from a specialist. Each of those transactions has a margin built in. By the time the car is assembled, the cost structure is layered with premiums that BYD simply does not have because they made the decision years ago to build all of those things themselves. This is why the prices do not make sense to people looking from the outside. They are comparing the cost of a car assembled from purchased components to the cost of a car built almost entirely in-house by a company that spent 20 years systematically eliminating the middleman at every level of production. You might ask, why didn't Western car companies do the same thing? Some tried. It is genuinely hard. Building a competitive battery factory takes years and billions of dollars before you produce a single cell. Building semiconductor capability takes even longer. The legacy automakers had profitable businesses selling combustion engines, and the incentive to disrupt their own supply chains, to fire their own suppliers essentially, was never there until the urgency arrived. BYD had a different starting point. The company began not as a car company, but as a battery manufacturer. Wang Chuanfu, the founder, built BYD into the world's largest battery producer for mobile phones before he ever touched a car. He bought a bankrupt state-owned car factory in 2003 with no automotive experience, no driving license, and with his investors furious at him because he had a specific belief that the future of the automobile was the battery and that if you mastered the battery first, the car would follow. His investors watched BYD's stock drop sharply when the acquisition was announced. The Chinese business press called it a joke. The joke lasted about 15 years, long enough for everyone to stop laughing. When you understand all of that, the vertical integration, the blade battery, the LFP chemistry, the production volume, the 2-decade head start on manufacturing the core component of an electric car, the prices stop seeming impossible. They start seeming like the logical output of a system that was built deliberately and patiently to produce exactly this result. And markets are noticing. In Thailand, BYD captured roughly 40% of the electric vehicle market within 18 months of entering. In Norway, one of the most demanding, most EV-literate car markets on Earth, the BYD Tang landed in the top 5 best sellers. In Australia, BYD went from near-zero name recognition to the best-selling EV brand in the country in 3 years. In Brazil, BYD is building a new factory on the same site where Ford's abandoned plant used to stand. These are not markets that all share the same politics, the same subsidies, or the same economic conditions. They are different countries making independent purchasing decisions, and in all of them, the trend is pointing the same direction. Now return to that opening number, a $10,000 electric car. The Seagull is not available in the United States. Tariffs would make the economics impossible. It is not coming to Europe at that price either, for similar reasons. But BYD is building factories in Hungary, in Brazil, in Thailand. Local production changes the tariff picture, and the underlying cost structure, the batteries, the motors, the chips, all made in-house, travels with the manufacturing process. The question Western car companies are trying to answer right now is not whether BYD's approach works. That question has been answered by 1.7 million deliveries. The question is whether a company that spent a century buying components from specialists can rebuild itself fast enough into a company that makes those components itself. That is not a question with a quick answer. It takes time to build a battery factory. It takes more time to get the yield right, to get the cost per cell down, to get the chemistry dialed in. BYD spent the better part of 15 years doing that work before anyone outside China paid serious attention. The car industry is now paying very serious attention. Toyota is accelerating its battery development timeline. Volkswagen is rebuilding its EV strategy from the ground up. Ford and General Motors are investing billions in domestic battery production. These are real moves, not press releases, but they are also moves that are happening now in response to a company that started making this particular bet in the early 2000s. That gap in time is not easy to close. What we are watching is not just one company making cheaper cars. It is the consequence of a different philosophy about what a car company actually is. Is it an assembler? A company that controls every layer of what goes into the product, from the chemistry of the battery cell to the software on the screen? BYD decided quietly, years before it mattered, that it was going to be the second kind of company, and then it spent decades building the infrastructure to make that true. The $10,000 car is not an accident. It is not a subsidy. It is not a financial trick. It is what happens at the end of a very long road that most people were not watching while it was being built. And here is what makes this more than just a car story. BYD has already announced it is developing a new generation of battery technology, solid-state cells, that could push energy density higher and costs lower still. They have a research division working on vehicle-integrated solar panels that add range from sunlight alone. Their latest hybrid technology claims a range of over 1,200 miles on a single combined tank and charge, not a concept, a car you can buy. If the last 20 years built a system capable of a $10,000 electric car, the question worth asking is, what does the next 20 years build? That story is already in motion. We are just at the part where the prices stop making sense and people are starting to ask why. Is BYD proving that Tesla is overpriced? Or is Tesla proving that people will always pay for a brand they trust? And if this is the kind of content you want more of, hit subscribe.